to the debate and discussion, and I'll invite, so if you'd like to sit down comfortably in the comfy seats, and I'll call forward our wider team to talk to this. So we will take the report as read and maybe just ask for any highlight points, and obviously we can then ask those further questions. Thanks, Kat. Not too sure who's talking to this.
Kia ora koutou, ngā mihi nui kia koutou. His Worship the Mayor, Madam Chair, respected councillors and Independent Māori Statutory Board, thank you for the opportunity to present the report Auckland as a UNESCO Creative City of Music. You'll have heard from Mark the value of belonging to this creative network and why music could be an appropriate designation for Auckland. Where it aligns to our strategic plans, the Auckland Plan and Toi Whitiki, which is our Arts and Culture Strategic Action Plan here, is around the people-centred objectives. Music is the most democratic and accessible of all the arts, delivering on the integration of arts and culture into everyday life. This is a strategic direction in Chapter 3 of the Auckland Plan. Council commits significant investment in music because it delivers on the goal of access and participation, key drivers for social inclusion. Selecting a music designation does mean that no other category can be used. However, UNESCO urges its applicants to see the category as a lever for all other art forms, and in this sense music is really good because it leverages, as you know, dance, theatre, all performing arts in general, literature. We had a songwriter given a literature award this year, media arts, film, and also our hospitality. And importantly, as you've heard, Auckland's music sector has indicated that it will lead the application process and take responsibility for the ongoing obligations to maintain that membership. This is a large advantage for Council because an industry-led bid implements enabling Council consistent with our partnership and our community empowerment objectives. So how do we go about it, you ask? To make a bid's relatively straightforward. Letters of endorsement from the formal bodies have been sourced by the music industry, and the music sector has existing relationships with our operating arm, Arts Community and Events, seated with me today. A focused action plan for music can be devised by this team and then sit within the Toi Whitiki implementation framework. If we are successful with the bid, some of you will be concerned about the cost, and these are obligations that are indicated in the report. One risk suggested that actions might require additional resource when we come to write the action plan, and that's why Mark was unable to answer you because we don't have an action plan yet. But expectations from the sector will be managed by clearly explaining that cost implications will be subject to contestable funding through our annual plan and our long-term planning processes. And there's also an expectation that the Mayor or a designated person attend the UNESCO meetings, and these happen annually. If attendance from the Mayor or his delegate is not possible, the music industry has indicated that they would attend and that they would, at their cost, they would attend this event at their cost. So if the decision to make a bid is made today and we do receive designation, the committee will be updated annually as part of reporting on Toi Whitiki. A 4-yearly report will showcase what's been achieved and what plans are in store for the next 4 years. In closing, after considering the value proposition of joining the network and Auckland's fit as a creative city of music, we have recommended to endorse the music industry to progress this application for Auckland. Ultimately though, this is your decision, councillors, and the recommendations are worded accordingly. We are happy to take questions.
Thank you. So just to get it on the books, I'm happy to, and because it's the way I feel, I'm happy to move B, and Councillor Philippaina, you're happy to second, or you'd like to move?
Either or.
Why don't you, if you're happy to move, and I'm happy to second B, and now we'll move to questions. And Councillor Philippaina?
I don't have a question because I know that Councillor Simpson's going to ask the one that she previously asked Mark, so I really just comment, so I'll wait for after the questions.
Lovely.
Chair.
So, Councillor Simpson, did you want to ask?
Yes,
your
I will, if that's
question?
all right. I did hear that you say that you haven't got an action plan, so therefore you haven't got a cost. But in the bottom of page 17 in the agenda, it says any costs for consultation, communication and publication associated with seeking membership will be met by the music industry. There must be some, if the music industry has agreed, first of all, has the music industry agreed to that comment? And if they have, in doing so, what are they up for?
So it's our understanding that the music industry has agreed. These costs are hard to calculate, but when we have looked at other international-based partnerships that we could join previously, such as Who Friendly Cities and other things, we do try to do an estimate of cost around how much the action plan development would take, and often it's dependent on how much work we've already got and the relationships we've already got. So with those types of things, the costs can go anywhere just to do the work for the action plan between $60,000 and $120,000 when you calculate human resource time. Those are often though dependent on how much work we've already got and the relationships. So we have got Toi Whetiki, which is the Arts Culture Strategic Action Plan, and we do have ongoing everyday work with the music industry through operational. So we're coming actually from a different starting platform. So we would say the cost would be more at the $60,000 end in terms of what the industry's putting in terms of in-kind time contribution. But I mean those are guesstimates because you have to start the process to actually figure it out. So they are leading that, and we are using the existing resource that we already put towards this sector to fulfil our part of it.
Supplementary, if I may. So in reading this, I kind of read that it would be a lovely thing to do. It's actually not going to cost us any money other than some staff time, and it would bring in revenue through economic development or whatever. What I didn't pick up, as well as all the pluses of the arts portfolio, what I didn't pick up in this is there potentially is a trip once a year overseas that the mayor's supposed to go on. So forgive me if I didn't pick that up. But did I hear correctly? My question is, did I hear correctly that if the mayor was unavailable or chose not to go, that the industry would pay for somebody to go?
Yes, that's correct.
And that is outlined in the table on page 18.
Forgive me, thank you. Thank you.
Which is pretty awesome. You know, you have to
absolutely
say, I think
stunning.
it's a fantastic offer, and, you know, we try and do as much as we can in partnership with others so that we don't have the ratepayers paying, and this is just a miraculous and generous thing from the industry. So next I've got Councillor Denise Lee,
Thanks.
question, and then Councillor Linda Cooper.
So just probably have about 3 questions. One is in regards to, is there no possibility that we can get a ballpark figure? Because what I'm also hearing is that once the action plan materialises, that there could be some extra costs. I read the within existing budgets comment, and we get that often. But just some sort of, I mean, you've talked about guesstimates. Look, in principle, I support it. Who wouldn't? It sounds, we do have an amazing heritage in terms of music in the city, and we do want to celebrate it, but we have to have our eyes wide open on what's coming forward, and especially you hear action plan. Well, action plans can be massive, they can be small, they can be progressive, and they can also be costly. So that's my first question. The other is that 2 things that you yourself have raised as red flags in your report. One is favouring one artistic sector over the other. Just a couple of comments around that would be great, because that should be something we keep in mind. And the other is limiting ourselves for another UNESCO designation. So if we choose this one, what happens? Does that mean you know, as a city, this is it, UNESCO, we can't be the city of something else? So, you know, I've got no knowledge in that UNESCO area, designation area. So Those 3 questions there. And just quickly, when I asked about that coming forward action plan, it said that staff need to formally clarify roles and responsibilities. So that's why I'm talking about that action plan seems like it's nebulous and could be bigger than Ben-Hur. Response.
So I hear the questions, Councillor Lee. My understanding was that the estimate or the guesstimate was given was about 60,000, and the other money I understand is any staff time that might be required that is within existing budgets.
Just to add to that, I mean, you are entirely right. You know, these things can be huge or they can be small, but first and foremost, this is about relationships and leveraging it and becoming part of an international network. What we choose to do with that once we have it is up to us. So any decisions about those actions or how much we are going to invest would come through forums like this, through the LTP, through the contestable programs that we have, and through our own programming response. But first and foremost, we've got to get that relationship right, and we've got to have that ability to take a badge as this into negotiations for bids for other events, for developing networks, for doing collaborations, and those will each be done on a project-by-project base. The actual relationship that we have at the moment is resourced, and our responsibility as an arts unit to continue. So it's about changing the agendas of what we talk about. But certainly any commitment and investment would always come through a forum such as this.
Can I just, add to that? I think we're also, we've listened to many members here talk today about the rich and varied music ecosystem we have. So some of the action plans are also about highlighting those things like Pacifica, Poly Festival. They are all things that are going on. Sistema lessons out in Notara, and so some of them are pulling all those up into the action plans. But like any of these international agreements which people advocate that council join, there is always the worry of advocacy around new money for investment, which is why the report picks that up, and will be quite clear about this will take a music and council sector-wide approach, so a whole range of different people's actions will be reflected in there, but no council actions that have any kind of funding with them will go through any process of approval that isn't linked to annual or LTPs. I mean, this is the thing when people partner with council. We have processes to agree what the level of investment might be, and our actions need to go through those processes if they require additional resourcing. So, I mean, that's one of the things we're always talking to partners about, and that's why it's so explicit in the paper.
Okay. And the other question, what will we, if we choose this, what will we not be? Or can we be gastronomy, music,
Marie.
something else?
Film.
Through the chair.
Film.
There are, as suggested, 7, Mark brought this up as well, there were 7 other fields: craft and folk art, design, film, gastronomy, literature and media arts and music. So Dunedin is our UNESCO Creative City of Literature. The other categories, rather than us fixating on a category, it's really important to know that there is no umbrella body for any of the other designations that could partner with council in the way that the music industry has. I think it's very important for council to get our internal and external messaging right, so that we can explain that music leverages all these other areas of the arts like no other category. Film, for example, you may say we've got this burgeoning film industry. We're already a film-friendly city. We have that protocol. And also some of these others are not really a strategic fit to integrating arts and culture into everyday life. You could say that they are much more elitist in their spread. So we feel very confident that music is the right fit for Auckland Council, for Auckland.
Okay.
Sorry, I've just had two.
Yeah, sorry, but
two
your question
supplementaries.
was,
I'm just a little bit.
does
so
that preclude?
2 questions, and if we can just
It
have really
does.
short answers, because we've got a big long
So-
list of people now.
So back on the finances, just 2 supplementary questions. Could you do this without any additional new money? And could you consider a fiscal envelope that you work towards in your negotiations with an action plan and your roles and responsibilities clarification work that you need to be doing?
We're certainly confident we can service the relationship and make some pretty good headway without an additional investment. And within our existing budgets, we have programs that could be changed or augmented in a way to actually support some actions without any additional budget. So yes.
So no new money for the initial conversation, and then any additional new money, you'd be coming back to us anyway?
On a merits basis, and yeah.
Okay. And then the third question was... no, sorry, you did. Did you answer the favouring one artistic sector over the other?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great, thanks.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Madam Chair.
Councillor Lay. Councillor Cooper.
Thank you. I mean, I think it's a great idea. My concern, and it's not about the music industry, is that we've just had our community public safety and nuisance bylaw shortened up by the committee by 4 to 5 months, and we were by a majority of the committee last week. This report would have been written before that, and we still haven't, we're waiting a memo from the unit because we're trying to work out how on earth we're going to consult with 21 local boards when we've shortened it up that much. How do you fit this into this process now? Because this is now another, and I don't know whether it was in your work plan for the year or not. We keep piling more stuff on our staff and expecting them to do it without the resources, and then we don't do anything very well, and then we get mad about it. But I'm concerned about that, Katarina. It's your unit, and do we even have the resources for this when we don't know about one of our biggest bylaw reviews yet to come? Thanks. And I do have another question after that about ATEED's involvement. Thanks.
Through the chair, I suppose the answer to that for this particular paper is our operations team will be leading the